Hey, you fish freaks. Welcome to episode number 105 of the KFO Show, your ultimate source for all things kayak fishing. This show is brought to you by Dark Horse Tackle. If you want to discover freaking awesome under-the-radar baits from top-tier small batch bait makers, check them out at darkhorsetackle.com, where gems like this live. Seth, look at this juicy juice.
Oh, okay.
This is balsa wake bait.
Balsa.
This came in the last Dark Horse Tackle box I got. It's a $20 bait. It's got mustad triple grips, hand painted, hand designed. Goes to like a 42-point inspection, hand tuned by Cliff Pace, Bassmaster. Yeah.
That's just not a no-namer there.
No, not a no-namer. And so I don't think I have too many wake baits. And so now's the time. And these things are super sticky. So look forward to throwing that. That came in their box, their monthly box.
Dark Horse Tackle. I use the red stick all the time. All the time. Got a second.
Winning tournaments on it.
Yeah, all the time. Love it.
I love it. To two new channel members this past week. So if any of you guys haven't been on the podcast for a while, I went full-time 2 months ago. And so when I see a new channel member, I am extremely grateful. So thank you so much, Mark Leggett and Graybeard M.
Graybeard.
Sure that's not his first name, but Graybeard. Love the YouTube anonymity going on here. So thank you guys so much. And we got Jake Cook on tonight.
Before we lead into it real quick, I just want to get this out of the way.
Yeah.
Everyone, today is Daren's birthday.
My birthday.
Yeah. So happy birthday. You're what, 27?
27 and a half. Makes no sense. 44, folks. 44.
Happy birthday. Anyway, get back into it. Sorry for
I just wanted to spend it with you guys. Here we go. I love it. So let's go and bring Jake to the show. Jake, my man, how's it going?
What's up, guys?
What's up, Jake?
It's going.
So I met Jake down at the Kayak Adventure Series. And so we were in the living room while we were I was sleeping he was sleeping on the couch, I was sleeping on the pull out, and you just become fast friends. That's for dang sure. So no, it was good. I enjoyed his personal story of today, and knowledgeable guy, loves fishing. And so I was like, you know what? He lives really close. How far are you away? Are we like 30 minutes away from one another?
30 minutes, as long as you can get through the traffic.
Where is it that you not specifically like your address? Like what city?
Cuyahoga Falls.
Cuyahoga Falls? Okay, that's not too bad. Not too bad at all. And so we're trying to put together, there might be a video where you see Jake and I fishing smallies. And so we want to get together here soon. Life is kicking our butts. iCast is next week. Come on. So I'll be heading down there on Sunday. So I'm excited about that.
Again, Daren, this is one of those things where I'm going to have to sit this one out, I guess. So you're just going to we'll have to do a podcast after you come back, and we'll talk about how cool it was and all that good stuff.
Oh, yeah, all that good stuff.
All the people that you meet, we can bring those people on.
Oh, yeah.
And then I'll sit here and listen, and it'll be a lot of fun.
And we'll all act like we were there.
Yeah, we're like, oh, that's so cool. Who'd you get to see? Oh, that's so cool. Show us some pictures, Daren. Show us some pictures.
Oh, my gosh. I feel bad because the last two guests I've had on have like experience that Seth wasn't there for. And so
boom, baby.
I know. But this is the time of the year where all your feeds flood with the latest and greatest. And so I've never been to iCast before. It's going to be my first time. And I'll be definitely turning up the heat on probably a lot of shorts. And then I'll be doing a lot of like full lengths afterwards. I'm not really interested in like being the first guy to put up a crappy video about something. So I usually like to think through a lot of my videos, get a lot of that details down to kind of bring you the best of the best.
Are you excited just to like, I've never been there either, but I've obviously followed it, to just like walk through the hallways and be like, new product. Like, just be like, oh my gosh. And then maybe you'll come up with like your own list of like what you think is like the coolest new product, instead of what they vote upon, because you have to enter into certain things.
That's true. And some companies don't even enter. Like last year, I know kayak companies didn't even enter because once they enter, their newest product launch gets leaked eventually.
Right.
And so they don't even enter some of the best gear doesn't even get entered because of they don't have it locked down. And so they actually want an actual product launch. And so, yeah, this is
it's not
interesting.
really the time of year to launch a kayak. You know, you need to do it early season or late season. You know,
Let's just say this. I know of a new I think everyone's going to be like, what? It'll be interesting. Can't talk about it outside of that little hint, but there's something coming to ICAST that everyone will kind of be like a head scratcher. Anyways, don't ask me any more questions. I'm not giving it up. All right, tonight we're talking.
Wait. No, we don't allow that on this show, remember?
We do. No, I don't allow it from guests. Yeah, I don't allow it from guests. I will continue to press. Okay, I will continue to press. But you can't press me. Can't press the presser.
That's true. I suppose. I'll allow it.
Right, Jake's continue. Like, what did I agree to?
Yeah. I have a feeling I know what it is. If it came from a kayak manufacturer that created another kayak company.
I'm not even saying it. That is not it. I know who you're talking about. That's blowing up my feed right now. That is not what I'm talking about. Those look kind of neat though. I'd love to get my hands on one of those. What are they called? Those are called. Oh, shit.
Can we call it the Vibe 2.0?
Yeah, Vibe 2.0. I guess the owner of Vibe started a new kayak company. This is all kind of it's out there already, and so they kind of look neat. I just need to get my hands on one. So I'm not. Are they going to be at ICAST?
I'm not sure. I'm not going this year. I bailed out again, just like I bailed out of Kayak Adventure Series this weekend. But there's a lot of innovation in that kayak. They took a lot of ideas from a lot of different manufacturers, and they're revamping it. So it's going to be new, but still what we expect.
Did you just say took a lot of ideas from a lot of other manufacturers?
Yes.
What? That was a really nice way of saying it. Stole a bunch of ideas from some other kayak companies.
It's not like they bought Hobie's patent, and just used it, right? Yeah. They took the designs and they made it their own, improved it to their liking.
They were inspired, is what you're trying to say. Inspiration. All right, I'll give you that. All right. Well, Jake, I wanted to bring you on. First, I want to share a little your story. I think it's fascinating. So to kind of get to know the man who we're going to be talking about summer bass fishing tips and tricks, we're all going to be adding to this conversation. Share a little bit about your history, kind of what you used to do prior to what you're doing now.
Well, first I want to say thanks for having me on. I've been a long time watcher. I've seen probably almost all of them. But a little bit about me, I started kayaking after one of my deployments I came back on. So I was in the military. Mm-hmm. I was on the National Guard side. Did that for about 4.5, 5 years. And then I decided, you know what? I love what I'm doing, but we're slowing down. So I took the leap and went active duty. So what that means to everyone on here, I went from a part-time soldier to a full-time soldier, right? So instead of 1 week in a month, I'm doing sometimes 7-8 days a week, it felt like. So my specialty was combat engineer. So that was my job, but my actual specialty ranged. I did a lot with explosives, whether it was setting up explosives, clearing minefield or clearing roads, all the way to doing basic infantry tasks. Like I was a gunner at some point in time. I was a driver at some point in time. So, but where I really enjoyed it was riding in the back of the truck, hopping out and getting on the roads, whether I have a minesweeper device or whether we're just patrolling. That was what I loved to do.
What's a minesweeper device?
Like a mine detector.
Okay. So you literally just got a metal detector. And when you find a mine, you freaking dig this out with your hand?
So there's multiple ways. We call them assets. So you can use your assets or your other equipment available. Uh-huh. So worst case scenario, you're digging it out with a Gerber,
Sounds safe.
And this crazy stuff? This is wild.
Yeah.
So
we're going to peel back the onion on this a little bit.
Or if you have assets, if you're in a unit that actually cares about you and has money, then you can use a whole truck. Some trucks are like a backhoe where they have buckets to dig. Other ones just have big rollers with chains.
Yeah, I've seen those, like, blah, 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 and you just run them over and the things are blowing up left and right.
Yep.
So that's not foolproof, I heard. Like sometimes you can go through there and like miss one, right?
Yeah, 100%. So there's, without getting too in depth, because I don't know who's watching, obviously, there's different ways mines go off. So not all of them are mines either. Some of them are implemented or planted.
Sure.
Some are by command. So you can either pressure off of it and it goes off, pressure onto it and it goes off.
Okay.
Or someone uses like a cell phone, and that signal goes off. So
it sounds like a pretty dangerous job. Is this something like but you've done it for a long time?
So real life expectancy out of this job, if you're doing it full time, is about 4 years. And that's like you're actively deploying, you're actively going into situations and doing it. You find yourself in the right unit. But then if you actually take care of yourself physically, mentally, spiritually, then you can actually go a little bit further. Or if you're lucky, you can go further. My role specifically, I remember I was at a career fair and I was looking for a job in high school.
Okay.
And I went up to this booth. His name was Staff Sergeant Saulberger. Great guy from Twinsburg or from Canton kind of area. Quite a bit. He looked at me and said, "Do you want to kick down doors and blow stuff up?" And as a 17-year-old, I said, "Abso-freaking-lutely. Where do I send? When do I leave?"
Yeah.
So I did the National Guard split option where you can actually join as a junior or senior.
Okay.
If you have time, they send you to training, and then you come back, finish your senior year, and then you go to your schooling option, and then you come back for 1 weekend a month, 2 weeks in the summer. It's great. Get college paid for. It is what it is. But I did. I joined my junior year. My job is what they call one station unit training.
Okay.
So you go to one place, you're with the same 8 instructors or 6 instructors. I think we had probably about 7 total after we got some in and outs from National Guard. But you're with the same instructors.
Yeah.
They build you up to be a soldier, and then they build you up for your actual job. So you're getting a lot of real life expectancy there, instead of just going to some random school.
Sure.
It's taught by civilians now, retirees or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Other than that, went full time. Me and my wife were living in North Carolina at the time, and I called her up, and this was on like a Thursday, and said, "Hey, we didn't get the duty station of our choice, but it looks like we're going to Texas." So
sounds hot.
She said, "When?" And I said, "Sunday."
Oh, crap. Yeah, that stuff moves fast.
So she was on a family trip anyways. So I had to pack up the whole house myself in North Carolina, drive 12 hours to Texas, and then 12 hours into Texas.
Oh, yeah. That's a big state, man.
So finally got there. It was not what I expected.
Did you kayak fish in Texas?
I did, and I'll get to where that comes in play.
Okay.
So moved me and the dogs, right? I have 3 huskies. We all moved to Texas. Ended up doing this job every day. The job wasn't the hard part. It was the people around it. Whether it's your leadership, COVID was going on at that time. So it was just a weird time. We were all trying to figure it out together. Finally got through that. Finally went on some trips and did some things. You know, it was cool, fun. And then we got back. And that's really when no one explains it to you and you just kind of figure it out on your own. Over years, and I hate to say it, but as a man, you are taught to just whatever you're feeling, you're just going to bundle it up and keep putting it inside, right? It's not the way it should be, but it's the way it was. So we compressed all of our feelings over the years. And then finally, when you have downtime and you're not doing anything, you then have to deal with them. So I started just kayaking in general.
Oh, you didn't start out fishing. You're just like, hey, I just need to get out in the water.
No, yeah. I was just a, bank angler, cat fisherman every once in a while. Just like, I'm more there to hang out than I am to fish.
Okay.
Then I actually started kayaking, and that was, I remember walking through Dunham's or Dick's down there, and I got a Tenton Pro Angler or something, like 200. It was like $300. Like, it was a no-brainer. They were doing blowout sales for COVID.
Oh, yeah.
So that got me on the water.
What was it called again?
It was the Tenton? 200 or Tenton Pro Angler.
Seth, you ever heard of those?
No,
I've never heard of those.
Dunham's might sell some weird stuff.
Yeah.
I've been at Dunham's in years.
Yeah. So that got me out on the water. And that's the point of this is kayaking became a way to deal with emotions, deal with stress, and to think, right? And to heal yourself. Everyone does it differently.
Yeah.
If you're the kind of guy that goes to church to heal yourself, cool. If you're the kind of guy that just goes in a boxing ring, cool. I'm the kind of guy that goes out on the water.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I know so many individuals, especially coming from service this country, where it's just therapy. So many.
yes.
So many. I can't tell you how many people write me, and it's usually like, hey, you in a mix with Fluke Master, with Chad Hoover, and a slew of other people. If it wasn't for, I just had this recently. If it wasn't for you guys and kind of the community, they said they would have taken their life. Like,
100%.
kayak fishing saved their life.
100%.
And so, man, it's so incredibly important. And for somebody who didn't serve in the military, is like, I maybe I don't know the gravitas of that. I hear the stories. Like Chad Hoover and I are really good friends. We talk just about every day because we got a business going on together as well. We could talk about that. I'll give you an update, Seth. I know you're asking me in the green room, but man, it is so important for so many kayak anglers out there. So sounds like it's doing for you what it's doing for thousands or maybe even tens of thousands of other men and women out there as well. So obviously, it sounds like, it looks like you're a crescent guy right now. You got a couple hanging up around you. So how'd you get into a crescent?
That is actually a great addition to what you're just saying. I found myself on a lake surrounded by wake boats and surrounded by jet skis, cursing at me, telling me to get off their water, everything like that.
Well, that doesn't sound very therapeutic.
Correct. And then all of a sudden I was driving home and we just moved back into Ohio. So I just sold my kayak. That was my last trip in Texas. We moved back to Ohio. I got out of the service. And I was scrolling across Facebook and I seen an ad from Crescent Kayaks with Drew Gregory showing off the Shoaly, doing the walkthrough. And I don't want to be one of those guys, but if I didn't end up in a Crescent, I would have been right along those people you just mentioned. Like, it could have been Bonafide. It could have been any other brand, insert here, right? But as far as your therapy goes and the way you rebuild yourself, I was failing. I found Crescent, right? I was able to get in one, went on the river. The first time I was on the river, I sat there and I cried. 100%. It was just so peaceful.
Yeah, no jet skiers, no boats, no wake boats, just floating.
It was you, the water rippling, the animals out there doing their thing, nature reclaiming what was once theirs that man has made. And then you start getting into the adventure aspect, right? How far are you willing to drag a kayak to go float? To see things like bridges, other historics that you would never see in your life if you wouldn't have been on that river.
No, I hear you.
So I really do owe it to the Crescent family, by the way, I'm not associated with them. They're great friends of mine now. Drew's a great friend of mine. He lives close, but without Crescent, I probably wouldn't be here.
Really? 100%. Okay. 100%. Man, it's crazy, the stories and the lives and how we find our way back and find ourselves. And so I just got to say, Jake, I'm glad you're here with us today, man. That's a cool story.
And I'm glad to be here. And what I want to get out of fishing is other ways to help veterans. If they can see one of your videos that turns them around, great. If they need a kayak to get out on the water, let me know. Anything I can do to keep a veteran here and to help, I will 100%.
Love it.
I ran into a guy in the Bassmaster event in Tennessee on Dale Hollow. I don't remember what the name was, but his kayak was wrapped in like kayaking for veterans or something like that, where he takes veterans out fishing.
Was it Heroes in the Water?
What's that?
Was it Heroes in the Water or something else?
Maybe.
Okay.
It was something about it was. I talked to him for a little bit, but it's been a minute. I don't remember that. But that's those. He was telling me a few of the stories, kind of like what you guys are talking about there, Jake, and how just getting folks out on the kayak has helped them tremendously.
It's so interesting. When you mentioned a bunch of wake boats and a bunch of jet skis, there's so many lakes around me, and the majority of the lakes I fish on, I realize, because I don't deal with all that, are all electric. Not electric. Yeah, electric only. Yeah, and so I don't deal with a lot of. When I hear people do that, I don't never really deal with that a lot. I mean, a little bit when I go fish portage lakes and stuff like that, but like they can only do a ring, and there's a big section of the bank where there's buoys they're not allowed going, and so someone said real warriors. I'm sure there's a lot of ministries and a lot of outreaches out there around that. 10K Sweaty Fishing said Crescent Newport. This man knows. Oh, by the way, do you guys see that Garmin launched a new motor today?
I did. I saw it. It's the Force Current. Force Current for kayaks, correct?
Yes, for kayaks. It's going to be a stern mounted, right? Is that what it is? Here, let me share my screen here so we can check this out. We're going to be getting a lot of this coming over the next 3 weeks or so with iCast. This is just kind of on the front end of this, but I thought it was interesting. Let's take a look-see. All right. So Garmin launches Force Current kayak trolling motor with unrivaled maneuverability. I love marketing speak. All right. So let's take a look at some of the stuff. Use of power steer foot pedals included on select bundles. That just means it sounds like it's an upgrade somewhere. Hands-free throttle and steering, or you can use the wireless handheld remote with point-and-go gesture steering. Interesting. Pedals connect wirelessly, so you don't have to have wires.
That's nice.
There you go. Quick engage anchor lock, which I believe is their word for spot lock.
How does that work? If it's in the rear of your kayak, You always have to go upwind of where you want to fish, or upstream.
I imagine it does. I don't know. I haven't thought about it. I literally just saw this right before the show started. I don't even think I read this I didn't have time to read this whole thing. This is what's interesting to me is, one, the price, and two, the power. So it's got dual voltage, which means you can either use a 24 volt or a 12 volt power. 12 volts could be a little more efficient, however, less power. So you get 50 pounds of thrust with the 24 and 30 pounds of thrust with the 12 volt. All right. I don't feel like that's a lot of power.
It's not a lot of thrust.
It's not a lot of thrust for a stern-mounted motor. Maybe if you're just kind of like spot locking around or anchor locking around.
It's not a big deal though if you have less thrust, because this is more of an affordable trolling motor.
we getting there. Wireless chart plotter integration, control throttle, and steering from the wrist. Okay. It's got MOB, man overboard, wireless. It's wireless man overboard. Okay. So you have to wear a kill switch. That's interesting. I like that. In shallow areas, quickly and easily stow or deploy the prop with one hand, and then get off the water fast. Weighs 25 pounds. Woo! Available in July. Here's the price, folks. If you want to get it without pedals, just the stern mounted motor, it's going to cost you $3,000 plus tax. With the foot pedals, it's an extra $600 for those foot pedals. Whew. So I don't know a whole lot. I don't know about like, can you adjust the shaft and this and that? Does it kick up? And I haven't even, like I said, I just started reading about this. But if you're over here in the comment section, what's your thoughts? And we'll get thoughts. You guys write them over here, and I'll get Seth, Jake. What do you guys think? Jake, I know you're a Newport guy, man. You got a hat on that says Newport Nation.
Yeah, go ahead, Jake.
Come on. We know, we have a feeling this is where you're gonna go with this. But
so there is a spot for everything in the industry, right? If you want to innovate and come out with a new motor, cool, right? Whatever price point you put on it, I feel like that's not necessarily the death of you. You know, your motor can be $5,000 or it could be $1,000, whatever. What I can say is it's not going to be a Newport. It's not going to be, you know, with that weight alone, you're calling it similar to the NK300. The 300 is a 3 horsepower equivalent.
Right. Well, isn't it be like a 1 horsepower? Or
less than one.
Less than 1.
So you got the same weight, you're less horsepower, you know, so that for all you Hobie guys, for you XTR guys, heavy kayak guys, that might not be what you want, right? Because that's not a lot of power to be pushing you around, and it might just be a lot of stress on the motor itself.
Oh yeah, 66% less power.
Yes. And then you're saying $3,000.
Well, yeah, without foot pedals, which you're going to want.
3,000 to like 36 something. All I can say is you can get a Newport, you can get a Crescent kayak, you can get a foot steering, and you can probably get a cheaper battery. You can get all that for the price of that motor. Or 2 Newports. I don't know what kind of adjustability it has. That's the question at hand.
Yeah. 100%.
With my Newports, I put a little bit more pressure on my foot steering, and it raises the motor so I can get shallower.
Yeah.
I have a pull cord. I can pull it and lock it in place and be shallower. Or just pull it and store it and not need it at all. So it is very interesting because the Newport's taken me places that my abilities couldn't have. Whether it's up current, right, when they're pushing water and you just need to get around where the dam's coming in, or whether it's extreme backwater where your paddle, like you dip your paddle and it just gets caught on a lily and you're ripping it out and you go for the next paddle and it's just again in the lily, and Newport just chops all that.
Yeah.
You know?
I can attest to that, and it doesn't code out. I've been in some motors, man, it codes out when it just looks at a piece of kelp or something like that. Like, oh, I can't. No, thank you. And so I have an NK 180. Yeah, I was saltwater fishing.
I was about to say, how many people here are fishing around kelp?
Fishing kelp or whatever it is that grows.
Hey, I go down to Florida. I've been there a few times this year. Anything goes. You know, I met a guy at a restaurant. He said, "Hey, man, I know where some big bass live." I said, "I know how to catch some big bass. Let's go." You know?
Friends forever. So
we went down canals but anyways, you never know what can happen, and you need a motor that can go both saltwater and fresh. You know.
Yeah. No, I was so So as we get into summer bass fishing tips and tricks, one is I was actually fishing the punch rig, and I had some recent shorts on that. Ton of fun. I just put up my pedal drive and freaking just ran my entire kayak right through those lily pads. It was chopping them up. I never get to, I like lift it out, just pull the pull cord, put it in reverse, it'd rip them up and just keep on. It was like, this is freaking awesome. Not coding out. So I was using the Bixby when I was up in Vancouver Island, and that thing probably coded out on me, which just means it's engineered to not like.
It's a safe fail.
Yeah, there's a ton of safe fails, but it has a cage around the prop. When you have a cage around the prop, it collects just about everything right in there, and then it codes out. The problem with it codes out, you have to like get up on your kayak, flip it up, pull it up, turn around, get back there, pull it out, take the magnetic thing off the battery, wait 3 seconds, put it back on, and see if it works. Well, I'm in the ocean, like I'm on rollers, and I'm coding out because I got a piece of kelp or something in there. I don't want to be coding out on my motor. I just want it to freaking rip and go.
And that is a slight issue that some Newport owners have, but it's all in the works. I think that's a generational thing. The next generation of kayaks, I hope, or the next generation of motors, I hope, won't have that option, or it'll be less finicky.
Yeah, sure. What are the 300s throwing codes like that?
So the 180 is known to throw a code.
Pro or the 180?
The Pro.
Got it. I have the OG 180.
And the 300 is known to throw a code, but that's more during setup. They'll get like an 04 something code.
Yep.
It's just because you plug the battery in before the controller or vice versa, whatever. It's easy fix.
I don't mind coding out when I'm setting it up. I don't like coding out on the water because you're like, oh crap.
And it's easy to fix on Newport. You hold the power button and you turn it back on.
Yeah, I feel like on the Bixby, you got to take the battery back and plug it in. And well, that's problematic when I'm 6 miles away from the lodge. So
I think you should take that $3,700 and just buy a 12-inch Garmin graph with some scope and then go catch more fish than you've ever caught in your life. That's what I think you should do with that, Garmin. Take your Garmin. So you're still spending on Garmin, so Garmin should be happy. Just don't buy the trolling motor. Go ahead and buy the graph.
This is interesting. 10K Sweaty Fishing said, I bet the NK300 just churns the veggies like garbage disposal. I, for the first time, got on a new canoe, unlimited, with an NK300. I was in heaven. 7 miles an hour on a big old new canoe. I was like, you got to be kidding me. Why do I have an NK 180? Next motor I'm getting is definitely going to be the beefiest, because going 7 miles per hour in a kayak is just so freaking awesome.
My shoulder
so awesome.
Get on plane.
Really?
Will come up and you'll be sitting a little taller, and
wow.
Pontoons break at you. They're great for just going right through and over, with the nose being up. So
Seth, what motor do you have? What do you think about the new Garmin launch?
I have the XI3 motor guide.
You don't have a stern.
With the old, what is it, Pinpoint, it's called? It's been spot lock.
Yep.
On the bow, but I need that for the type of fishing I do. I need to be anchored behind, facing whatever I'm doing, scoping around, looking at stuff. There's I think, Daren, we talked about some of these things. There's certain like thresholds that take you to the next level of your fishing. Like if you're trying to catch bigger fish, more fish, or win events. One was for me, getting a motor. That was number one. So
that was recently. That was just this past year, right?
Last January. Yeah. So it's almost You're
in your second
so this
season.
past year was my first year with the motor. The other one was getting a graph, like live scope. Like those two things, like having a motor to keep you in place and to get you to where you want to go. There's two separate ways, but the one that would pinpoint me, or spot lock, having spot lock holding me in like wind and holding me in current and just holding me right there, that was a huge game changer for me. So I always have my motor to my bow, because putting in the back would be just getting me to my locations. But then I get pushed around with the wind, and the wind, man, battling the wind for me pushes me off fish all the time.
Well, for how you fish, that makes
for how I
sense.
fish.
Would you ever run dual motor? If money wasn't an issue?
It's getting I'm not going to. I'm just going to pull in the front with the motor guide. I mean, I'd like to get like an NK and then just zoom right to where I want to go and then switch them out. But like eventually it's getting to the point right now I'm like, dude, there's a lot of stuff I'm packing on this kayak every day. Like I kind of miss the days when I didn't have the graph, didn't have a trolling motor. You just like throw it in the water and go. Didn't catch as many fish, but it was a lot easier. And as I'm getting older, I'm 35.
Fun until you said I wasn't catching as much fish.
Yeah. As I'm getting
all
older,
the stuff. It means more bigger fish.
It's getting harder to carry because I have a larger kayak, so it's a little heavy.
Do you even have a trailer? Do you have a trailer on that thing?
No trailer.
Homie doesn't even trailer all that.
Put her in the bed, back her on up, drop her in, man. It's you
How
try to
much
do
that thing away?
I don't know, heavy.
Yeah.
But it's like I try to keep things simplistic. Like if I have a trailer, I got bearings, I have tires, I got wheels. I'm traveling across the country. I got to bring spares. Got to worry about flats. I have to park a trailer somewhere. What's that?
Worry about parking?
Yeah, exactly. I got a store trailer. Takes up my gym and my garage. So like I try to keep it more simplistic. So anyway, yeah, I don't see this Garmin, the Force, doing anything for me. I don't know honestly, how is it going to compete? Like the wireless pedals, cool, but like the power for what it's offering and having like spot lock or pinpoint, whatever it is in the back, the anchoring mode, I don't understand how that's going to be beneficial. Because as soon as you anchor in one spot, your whole kayak's just going to, so you have to go above the fish wherever you're fishing.
I don't know. That'll be interesting. All right, so switch gears here. Let's go tactical. Yeah. Summer bass fishing tips and tricks. I got a bunch of questions over here. Jake, let's go to you, my friend. So, well, I'll let you kind of choose your own adventure. Where do you want to start? What's one thing? Because I know you love power fishing. We talked about this a bit, and you love river fishing. Well, let's start with like this lake fishing, power fishing. Okay. What do you got?
Lake fishing. I know if you flip right, you can usually get more bites. The few times I've been flipping, I catch the dinkiest dinks ever. I get hung up, and all that kind of stuff. So I'm kind of when I say power fishing, all that means is I am constantly moving and covering water. Whether I do that with a fluke or whether I do that with a chatterbait.
You're going for the reaction bite, right? You're not going for the finesse. You're moving a lot. Yep.
But once I find the quality fish, then I can back up and
someone's breaking into your
you better go check your car.
Yeah, not us, but no. So once I actually find the fish, then I can slow down and kind of pick it apart. But my issue is because I have a Newport, so it pushes me, right? I'm battling the wind too, battling other boaters. I need to keep moving because I know I can't sit still unless I'm beached. So a lot of the times, I also catch my fish in less than 8 foot.
Oh, so you're bank beating by heart.
90% of my fishing is 5 foot or less.
Okay.
100%. One lure that's actually been super producing for me this year is just the white swim jig. All right. And I use a paddle tail, and this has caught me, let's see now, 6 19-inchers in 6 different states.
Oh, yeah. Don't have to talk me into a swim jig.
Yeah.
But please keep talking about it. Yes.
So again, this is the one I use. It's just a reaction tackle swim jig because I can buy it in a pack of 3
on Amazon.
Yep, for like $12.
Today's Prime Day.
Prime Day.
I use paddle tail trailers. I like either the Pro Blue Red or just a white ice, whatever. Similar to that swim jig is just a chatterbait. This time
I have the exact same stuff set up right now. I love it.
Yeah. Chatterbait, this time of year, depending on the waters, green pumpkin, right? Green pumpkin or some kind of white. If I'm at a lake that has a lot of shad or around a shad spawn, I'll go with a white or white-ish color. If it's more bluegill or, sunfish bait, then I'm going green pumpkin. Now, if water's obviously dirty, that kind of thing, black and blue.
So, bladed jig, do you spend the big bucks on the jackhammers, or do you go like Evos? What do you do here?
So that's actually interesting. I just ordered about 10 or so.
Bro, you need a cosigner.
Of the Bass Pro Shop Shatter
BPS.
Bomb.
Okay. Those are not that expensive then. What, 7, 8?
They're like $6.99, $7.99, right?
Okay.
Whatever. They always have like a 20% off too, whatever, or 10% off. But I'm always choosing that middle ground price point. The Evo. The
Evo is money.
Right. No, I'm getting these things caught. I'm snapping off. I'm breaking off on fish. Not now that I've changed line, but yeah, I try to keep it right in the middle point of the prices. I'm not saying jackhammers don't catch fish, but I haven't caught the quality to justify double the price yet.
Okay.
Next one is flipping jigs, right? This is something I picked up the last year or so. All it is a skipping, flipping, pitching jig of your choice. And I'm throwing it as deep, and it's usually a backhand cast, as deep as I can get it under that brush, under that dock. Again, I'm fishing 8 foot or less. So any structure I can target, I am. Also, I'll flip this on the edge of weed pads, or if there's like an indent in them,
sure,
I'll target it. But generally, you won't catch me out there shaking a minnow.
So, real quick questions for you. Move on.
Yep.
Let's head back to the bladed jigs. Do you use any of the micros?
I've tried the baby jack.
Oh, so juicy. So juicy.
I broke it off and got snagged on my first cast.
Oh, that was a $16.
Daren's a huge proponent of the baby jack.
That's an expensive loss.
Yeah. So I've also used the other, not the micro, but there's like a 1/8 ounce option. Okay. There's an 1/8 and a 3/8 option for it. I forget which one it is.
Okay.
It's by Z-Man.
Yeah. Minimax?
Minimax, there it is.
Well, I would like to say that I came up with that, but I looked over the comment section and Low Life Angler wrote Minimax, and I just repeated it. So thank you, Low Life Angler.
But I do think there's an advantage of downsizing. I'm just too lazy. If I'm downsizing and it attracts one fish, cool. But how many fish looked at it and said, that's not a big enough meal for me?
I don't know.
So when I'm power fishing, bank beating, smally sniping, I need to be moving fast. I need to be presenting them the best meal that I can give them. So I think just the regular chatterbait is the way to go. Like the regular size, pick whatever your price range can afford you. But that's the one I choose, unless I'm in Florida. If I'm in Florida
sucks.
I'm throwing a big blade.
All right, going for the big thumpers.
The whole time, whether I'm reeling it over top of grass pads and getting big blowups out of the pads, whether I'm find a grass edge or one of the ledges, I'm definitely fishing that. But it's just hard to beat a chatterbait.
Do you throw any variety of the bladed jig?
Yeah, jackhammer.
Yeah,
I used to throw them a lot before I really started scoping more prevalent. It was jackhammers big time, and I've caught some giants on jackhammers. You just gotta make sure when you're reeling them in, you keep tension on the line when they jump, because they will flip your
they got a lot of leverage
out. But a lot of gold lot of gold blades, like golden
Florida.
shiner type.
Yep.
White color, little dirty white. I forget the exact name is. It might be like dirty white actually, with a gold blade. Use a lot of that. I threw a lot of jackhammers, just regular size though. There's another one called Super Break Blade by Jackal. It's Korean. I had to look behind me, or not Korean, Japanese.
The Super Break Blade?
Super Break Blade, yeah. It has a weed guard, 2 on one side, 1 on the other, so that you can roll it right through like lily pads and stuff.
Oh, come on.
And it helps without getting caught in lily pads. It's a really light wire guard. Super Break Blade, so you don't get caught in like thicker vegetation. Like you can lob that sucker right into a lily pad field and just wind it and not get caught, which is pretty nice. But I only use them ever so often. But yeah, I mean, I throw jackhammers, especially in dirty water, shallow grass. Yeah. Yep.
Love it. All right, you keep
on
going.
I saw a question in here, Darren. I wanted to answer real quick.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, go for it.
Let's see if I can show it. It's massive.
Steven.
Any advice on how to keep from losing fish in the pads? This is from Mr. Steven Sturgeon. I will lose about 25% when the fish somehow gets wrapped around a pad stem and the hook ends up being stuck in the pad stem. So 25% is not terrible, honestly. It's not terrible.
You're doing better than I would.
Yeah, terrible ratio there, but typically it comes down to, if you're fishing in cover, a heavier rod, heavier line, faster reel, and you're going to do more horsing them in. So like if they're in pads, you don't want to let them run and try to find their own path. When you hook them, you kind of want to try to get them in as quick as possible.
Yes.
So yeah, for me, it's a heavier rod, heavier line. Like if you're only flipping pads and you're not going to use that rod and reel for other stuff, you can really just throw braid. Like you can throw straight like 50-pound braid if you want. Smash into them and get them in. Don't mess around. Higher ratio reel. That's what I typically do. So yeah.
So that's one thing I want to highlight is I don't use fluorocarbon other than a leader on a spinning rod if I have to. I only use braid. I've lost a lot of fish on breaking off, I should have retied, but I didn't. Stuff like that. So with braid, I tie it on once and it comes through everything. And if it doesn't come through it, it saws its way through it, I would say. Especially chatterbaits, especially if you're flipping. Having a backbone, honestly. Having a heavy rod, a stout rod. I know some manufacturers might call their stuff heavy. Make sure it has a heavy backbone.
So I was just out. I caught about, I think, 4 bass out of lilies in probably 35 minutes. It was crazy. And I think one of the things that also helps is you really got to shorten up on your casts. Yeah. So if you throw it way out there because you're like, oh, there's a big juicy hole out there, and instead of me moving my kayak closer to the hole, I'm just going to hit it from further away, and it just means you're just dragging through a lot more stuff, and you're likely going to get caught up. So targeting those, I mean, I was catching bass 10, 15 feet off my kayak, which isn't very far. You're just kind of flipping it at that point, not casting. And so that'll probably increase your hookup ratio. That will keep them from diving down and around and getting caught up and getting you caught up more, because you're going to bring them up versus back through. Right. And it's probably going to increase your hookup ratio there. So hopefully all those things brought you a little juice there. Jared Booth has got an interesting question here. I don't know. I don't fish down around that area. Seth, do you?
Well, Sandy Cooper. He says, asking about Sandy Cooper.
Asking about gators.
Yeah, so I've never fished there. I'll plan on fishing next year. But gators aren't an issue typically. Yeah. And we've in Florida actually took my family to this exact place with my kids on kayaks in a tournament. We all fished a tournament together, where 2 people have been killed by gators. One was on a kayak, one was on a canoe this past year in Florida. Same exact spot we've gone to. But
here, they asked the question because everyone's like listening and like, what are you talking about there? Jared Booth, odd question. 1, would it be safe, smart to take a 5-day solo kayak bass fishing trip on Sandy Cooper? 2, are gators an issue? 3, are there kayak only areas?
So I'll start at the end there. I have no idea if there's kayak only areas.
Probably not.
If you're doing a 5-day, like you're gonna like just go by yourself out fishing, I don't think that's an issue. I wouldn't stay on the water overnight. But like if you're getting an Airbnb or whatever, I mean, yeah, go enjoy yourself. But as far as gators go, like I was saying, they're typically not an issue. They're mostly afraid of you. They'll leave. The only time, and this happened in Florida just recently, and 2 canoers, is in shallow water. If you coast over them and you startle them, they displace a lot of water when they move. So if you're in like 2 feet of water and you like slowly drift over one and you startle them, they're going to kick and their way out of there. And if you fall off something like that and you're a little distressed and flopping around, that attracts them for sure. But if you're just fishing and you're just casting around and you're minding your own business and they're floating around, they're not, like 99.9% chance they're not going to mess with you. There might be like a weird gator that decides they're going to be aggressive that day. But I mean, I take my family out and my kids out with me on kayaks. We float around. There's gators around us and they just do their own thing. So you should be good.
The first part of this question is interesting because it's throwing off all kinds of things in my head. So when he says, would it be safe or smart to take a 5-day solo kayak bass fishing trip? I mean, this is one of the reasons Chad Hoover and I right now are creating KFAST, Kayak Fishing Advanced Safety Training, and creating curriculum around this because I can't answer this for you. I don't know how many years you've been kayak fishing. I don't know if you've done this before. I don't know if this is like, hey, I just started last week and I want to go on a 5-day solo.
It's true.
If you ever done, re-entry, do you know what to have in your first aid kit when you go out on a 5-day solo? Are you literally out there? They're just day after day and you're camping or you come in. There's so many variables. And so this is why Chad and I are creating a certification program. It's going to be super cheap to make sure that everyone is safe out there on the water. So these questions would be answered. And so stay tuned. It's going to be coming. I was writing part of the curriculum this morning as we're going through different modules. And so this sometime after KaiCast, that curriculum will be done. It'll be reviewed by our expert panel that we've been kind of bringing in from the Coast Guard and bringing in from paddlers and been doing it for 30 years and so forth and so on. So it's going to be good and it's going to be affordable and it's going to help a lot of people. Make sure you get home safe. I love the question.
What's it called?
KFAST.
What's the
Kayak Fishing Advanced Safety Training. So we're going to have a basic certification and then we're going to have an advanced certification. The advanced certification is going to peel back 2 or 3 layers on the onion on the stuff we kind of glossed over on the basic, but that's going to get into things like motors and wiring and adaptive paddling. It's going to get into things like fish handling and kind of next level. It's also going to be just fishing tips, right? That goes into the advanced section. It's going to be probably 4 or 5 times larger as far as modules. So for all of us up here in the north, Jake, and I think if I remember correctly, you may not be up here in the north too much longer. But when we in the off season, I mean, there's no better time to do your cert work, your certification work than when it's snowed out and there's ice on the water. So everyone can kind of get safer, get that knowledge, make sure that you come home. If you take kids out or take groups out, we're going to have a guide certification, and then we're going to have a guide instructor. So you can basically make other guides. And so this thing's coming together. Chad and I are talking freaking every day. He's bringing the right people to the table. And we're going to make it so stupid, Seth, where like, hey, it's basics $25. And right off the bat, you're going to get $25 back from ... company that everybody uses anyways. And so it's going to make it a no-brainer to get that certification, make sure you're safer. And it's going to be a good time. So I've been working on that full steam in the midst of content creation. It's been good. It's been real good.
Awesome.
Jake, what else have we got?
We're actually going to transition to rivers.
Ooh.
That's where I really want to sharpen my tournament teeth. Iron sharpens iron, right? When I'm on the river, I can't explain how important a fast reel is. Smallies are incredibly fast fish. They will come out of nowhere to eat a topwater lure. They will take your lure, your spinnerbait, whatever, and they'll drag it 10, 15 yards in a blink of an eye, right? So if you have a reel that can keep up with that, it's already half the battle. And then if you fish lakes, it's no issue to put, different braid on top of that, tie your connection knot and put 30 or 40 yards or feet even and use it as flipping, right? But one thing that I really, really tore them up on this last weekend. Right now is spinnerbait time, right? The smallmouth
so loud.
So loud.
For those of you listening in, it couldn't be more neon construction yellow than what I just saw.
These reflective materials.
Yeah.
If we have any fish experts that can explain why smallmouth hate chartreuse, like that would answer so many of my questions. Like, is it what they see, what they think it is? Is it just like when humans see red, they get mad, you know? But if you don't have a fast reel, like it's not the end of the world. You just be doing a lot of catching up. I only throw.
Doing catching up, you're doing potentially losing because that's slack line. Folks.
Yeah. With that being said, I only use braid, right? I went away from fluorocarbon, especially on the river. I use 30 or 40 pound braid 100% of the time.
Okay.
I've actually liked the Cast King Speed Demon, right? I'm not associated with them in any way, right? But you can use the Abu Garcia Revo, whatever, right? You want 8+1 ratio.
Yeah, that was a question. Right there. I don't real backwater said I don't fish anything under an 8. 8 to 1.
But no, I would just say match your spinnerbaits to your current water conditions. Obviously, if it's clear, you don't need a bright yellow spinnerbait. You know, you can have something like this is another War Eagle is the brand I usually go with. Their River Rat or their Painted Series, whatever this one is. But
you're an Amazon bait buyer, aren't you? Because all these things are what Amazon sells.
So actually, I used to be, yes. And I had Amazon packages, 10, 15 a day for a long time.
Yeah, bro. That's what I'm talking about right there.
But no, I actually got the chance to work with the guys over at Reaction Tackle. So they gave me their own link and stuff, They have great product, and the product I mainly use is their braid.
I use the braid.
Yeah.
Mostly because Chad Hoover gave me a bunch of it, and he's like, hey, this stuff's really good. And I was like, great, I'll use it. And that's what I've been using. No issue at all.
It's cheap. And if you guys didn't know, there's only a few braid factories in the world. Just like real manufacturers, right? It's all coming from 5 or 6 factories, depending on what you're talking about. But no, Pradco, actually, which is the conglomerate that owns War Eagle, Booyah, Hedden, all them, they support Kayak Adventure Series.
Oh, nice. So, which you're a part of.
Which I'm a part of, right? If they're going to support something that I enjoy, I'll support them, right? It's the giving back factor, So, but yeah, even the buzz baits, right, by War Eagle, they are fantastic. If you
tune your buzz baits at all, I know like a lot of guys like to freaking put them on their antennas and tune them, break them in.
I broke more spinnerbaits trying to tune them than I have.
How do you try to tune them? What's your way?
I've tried the whole zip tie on the antenna. If you have like outside of your house, like a garage or something, putting these on fans, zip tying them to the fan, turn the fan on high. Yeah. But really, you only need about an hour to 2 hours, depending on the speed of the wind. To me, it doesn't make that much of a difference. A smallmouth is going to eat a buzzbait, whether it's black, white,
tuned or untuned.
Dude, I was just about to say, I have no idea what you guys are talking about tuning.
Oh, really?
I'm like, dude, I've never tuned. Maybe a crankbait.
You haven't heard of this? You haven't heard of this?
Dude, you're tuning. I'm like, what are we?
People go like
you guys have this
deep dive.
I'm glad Jake said that they'll bite whatever because I ain't tuning those bad boys.
If you aren't a tuner, right? If you just want to take your bait out of a package, and if you're wanting to throw a plop or a blade style bait, I've had so much success on the Chapo, the Whopper Plopper.
Chapo.
I prefer the Chapo.
That's not the Whopper Plopper. Is that Chapo?
This is the Chapo, yes.
Okay. Darren, we know some Chapo people.
Team Chapo.
Team Chapo.
The Maverick color, the black with a little bit of orange.
Yep.
But this is my absolute favorite color for the Chapo. The MF Frog.
MF.
What does that stand for?
Something we probably can't
My
say.
favorite.
My favorite.
Yep.
75 size. It has a deeper plop than like the 90 size and the bigger 110, whatever. Really, smallies will eat anything. So that's the point I'm trying to get at, is like, pick a lure that you have confidence in, and as long as you can keep it in the water, you don't have to readjust it every cast. You don't have to pick weeds off of it. Throw it again, throw it after that. Just keep throwing it. They'll eat it. As long as they're there, they'll eat it.
10K Sweaty Fishing asked us to go down the tuning rabbit hole. It's not really that deep of a rabbit hole. Jake, you want to take this?
So what you're going to do, get yourself a vehicle. Get yourself a bus.
I'm out.
So
you can
bicycle count,
like, whatever, however you transport, right? This is the older school way to do it. Usually is you take a zip tie, you zip it on your antenna, and what it does is it breaks down a little bit of,
smooths out the metal, right?
This rear little clip back here. It puts pressure on it, and it makes that, you can kind of hear it, it makes it squeak. And it's just metal on metal sound. Some people swear by it, others don't. I could go either way on it. So
one, you got to have a car or truck that still has an antenna, right? Not just the little knob on top of your car. So you got to first have that.
And if you're 13, 14, 15, whatever, you don't have an antenna to tie off onto, and you're tired of bugging your mom because it is loud. Like, you put it on and you're driving to the lake, like, it's 30 minutes. Yeah.
Humming.
Yeah. Go on your back porch.
Someone said I saw a dude on a gold wing with 2 on his antenna. I love it.
Hey, maybe he caught a 10-pounder that day, and that's why he does it.
Hey, you got the real backwater. The louder the squeak, the better on a buzzbait. Some people see that you got believers and you got non-believers. So let us know in the comments below. You're like, hey, you know what? 1, I've tried it. I swear by it. 1, I've tried it. No difference one way or the other. And 3, I've never tried it, but I want to. Let us know.
If you aren't a breaker in buzzbait guy or gal, are you using a clacker buzzbait like the Brazalos, or
just got one? That thing has a nice sound to it.
Or one I've really liked frequently and lately has been the Biz Baits Dinner Bell.
Okay.
That thing is sweet.
Biz Baits.
Yeah, they have like these packs, right? I'm a sucker for them. You give me like 6 different things for one price, sold. 3-pack of things, sold. Like, make my job easy.
Yeah. Seth, why did you write 3333 in the comment section?
You said 1, you use them, you love them. 2,
oh, got it.
You use them, you don't.
3,333.
You don't do anything. So I wrote 3 multiple times. I don't touch the tuning.
I'm sure they do something, but it's like, I was just having this conversation the other day. Would a fish bite a yellow spinnerbait or a yellow jackhammer or just a yellow worm? Like, are they eating it because of the color? Are they eating it because the chatterbait gives off a different frequency?
So I have some knowledge. I don't know about chatterbaits particularly.
Oh, is it from the book?
No.
I'm sure
I actually haven't read that book in a while. Knowing Bass. We got to read that book again. But watching my graph for the last year and a half, spending thousands of hours watching fish from Florida to Tennessee, like, there are basic baits, like profile baits and basic approaches that just work. And it doesn't really matter like what maybe not all the time, right? Clarity makes a difference, but a lot of times it doesn't matter what the color is, whether there's orange on it, yellow on it, stripes on it, spots on it, or if it's just brown the whole way across. If you work it the correct way and it's at the part of the water column that the fish are, whether they're at the bottom feeding or midway or top, and you're putting it in a place where they would eat it, they're going to eat it. So for me, I use the same strategies, and I'm really successful in competing against other folks. And it's just basic strategies. And it's not like really sexy baits. They're like stick baits, jerk baits, a creature bait. And it's not like they're anything of like crazy colors, or it's just basic stuff, but you're putting it in the location. So the point I'm getting to is I can see how the fish react. And and probably some folks in the chat, hopefully they have live scope and they're not totally against it. But if you like, once you get it,
let them know in the comments below.
Yeah, if you don't want to hear this part, but you can see how fish react to bait, like the baits you throw. Like you can throw a 12-inch worm and you can see them swim up to them and be like, that looks crazy, and just bounce. You can throw like a Ned rig and it's like a tiny little thing that you're twitching. You're like, okay, this looks realistic. They eat it. So you can see how they're reacting in real time. And over again, like there's certain basic baits that just perform all over that I fished. So anyway, yeah.
I got a question in here from Scarby. Kind of like scurvy and Scarby. It must be a last name. I don't know. I like the bass in this photo. Seth, are you using jerk baits year round?
100%.
So interesting, because I put them away.
Do not throw it down when it's cold, or unless there's ice on the water, like Wendell, then you just throw it on top. But when you're in Ohio, but like, yeah, all year long, it doesn't matter what the water's cold, the water's hot. Bass eat fish all year. Just remember that. Bass eat fish all year. And that's what a jerk bait is imitating. And I watch them, man. I watch them eat jerk baits, and I
put jerk bait away because I don't run scope yet. Now, I might change my mind. Whenever I
mean, if you're throwing blind, I got to keep that in mind. If you're throwing without being able to see the fish in front of you, then you could be throwing in a lot of dead water. So it might be a waste of time. Yeah. If you're in the open water, it could just be the desert out there with not a single fish in front of you. You'll spend 3 hours throwing jerk baits, not catch anything. To be clear, I see the fish that I'm casting at with the jerk bait all year long. So yeah,
it's working. I remember when we were fishing on the team for the knucklehead, we were doing pre-fishing, and you were like, "Hey, I caught 100 fish over here that one day," and then we're like, "Let's try it another place." We're doing pre-fishing, trying to get on them, and we're out there for an hour. I was like, "Seth, how many fish are you seeing down here compared to yesterday?" You're like, about 10%. I was like, "What are we doing?" Yeah. And we passed the gator, and then we went back.
We bounced out of there, went to the other area, caught a ton of fish.
Got a ton of fish. Yeah, it's crazy.
There's dead spots in lakes for sure.
But without scoping, I would have spent the rest of the day trying to dick around, trying to find, oh, that looks good from above, looks good from all the clues, but they were not there. So interesting. I love it.
Electronics, man. They can help you.
They can. All right, what other questions? We got a bunch of questions over here. Try to buzz bait at Santee Cooper, caught a catfish.
Yeah. There you go.
Size of your jerk baits in all your testing and looking at it in computer and video game fishing. Have you size matter?
when I'm playing video games, so I'll throw, because I can see the fish, I can get multiple casts on them, right? It's almost like you're bed fishing, but they're not on beds. So I cast out with just like a basic stun, right? Mm-hmm. And if they show interest and they don't commit, usually I'm not going to catch them. If they show interest, chase, don't commit, you're not going to catch them because they got a good look, and it's a lot of times game over. Or you can change baits, and you can throw something with a like a little Rapala like slash bait with a little feather on the back, something like that to give like a different action. You can downsize, you can upsize. Anytime you upsize, you're going to get more chasers. From my experience. So if you go to like a glide bait, if you throw in a jerk bait and you have a chaser, Seth's stun a Taylor. I like that 10K sweaty fishing.
I like that.
I have to use that one. But if you go to a big glide bait, like your bigger fish are super intrigued by bigger baits. The hard part is getting them to commit to it. They just love it, man. They will follow that bait forever. It's just the amount of times they commit is like minuscule, like 5%.
See, that's wild. That's why I want to, 'cause I love the art. Obviously, I teach it, right? And so I want to know how they're reacting to all these baits. And so I need to get my hands on
You really, I
system.
mean, for anyone out there, whether you're against live scope for tournament fishing, regardless, let's just take tournaments out of it. If it's not real fishing, you will learn more in 1 year of scoping if you put your time into it than maybe the combination of your entire life. Like, you're going to learn things that fish do that you had no idea. Like, there's fish big fish that swim randomly in the middle of lakes. Just a random 8-9 pounder just roaming around in the middle of the lake. And those are the
easiest. You love that. Those are easiest catch.
Oh my gosh. You do one cast with a jerkbait or even throw a random Senko wacky rig out there, game over. But
what percentage of roamers are you able to bring back the kayak?
Single one, I don't know, but single fish that are roaming, a lot of times, I would say it's more than 50% of the time you'll catch it.
Wow, bro. Yeah. Calm down.
They're the nice ones, man, when they're out there and they're just roaming out for no reason, especially if they're higher up in the water column. If they're on the bottom, the percentages go down. But they're higher in the water column towards the surface, top 50%. It's good. But you'll just learn so much about how fish set up in cover, how they set up in current. Like, it's like a master class of just watching it on your video game. So yeah, anyway. It's cool. Don't get the trolling motor from Garmin. Just go ahead and get the scope.
It's good. Get the scope. I love it. Do you guys ever mess around with night fishing during the dog days of summer?
Jake, I don't.
Oh, Jake said, yeah, Seth's like, I got to work. And so I need to sleep during the night.
A 3/4 ounce black spinnerbait. It's over. A choppa, like night topwater fishing. Best, like, if you guys ever are out there throughout the day sweating, wishing you got a topwater bite, go home, sleep, come back out that night and do the same thing.
Jake, we need to go night fishing, homie.
Yeah, you guys live like next door. What are you doing?
The issue is around us is you have to find somewhere that allows you to be in their parking lot. So like Stark Parks, right?
Yeah.
They close their gates. You get a minor misdemeanor for being on the property and you get trespassed. Whether you're on the lake, your truck's in the parking lot. Yeah.
Interesting.
So it's
a lot of them have times on them.
Yeah, and it's just dusk to dawn or dawn to dusk, whatever. So
basically you need someone to like drop you off, a buddy, and then get you
off, or those like side of the road accesses.
Mm-hmm. But we can find one of those. We got it. Jake, let's do this.
Yeah.
I'm
here for it. I'm down for it. It's just, it takes getting used to. And if you've never done it, don't go alone. Because it does get creepy. Like,
oh, it's creepy. Yeah.
It's creepy. You know,
I think I did my first with Hoover down, and it was freaking awesome. But if it's not a full moon, it's creepy. It's hard to see. And you get caught up and throwing your lures, and even with shallow cast, you get caught up, and then you're like, "What was that?" And the freaking beaver, and slapping his tail. Yep. It's just crazy.
You shine a flashlight down here at nighttime. It's like a bunch of deer standing out.
I bet 17 gator eyes looking back at you. Pythons looking at you. No thanks. Bryce, Stark Parks, you're in my neck of the woods. I like it.
Yeah, careful in them parking lots after.
Yeah, you'll be missing your alternator as well as getting a ticket. Freaking Stark County.
That's fun.
Oh my gosh. Have you ever done night fishing, Seth?
For catfish.
Oh, there you go. Maybe from the kayak though.
I grew up in the Susquehanna River. That's what we did all summer, man. Sit on the river and catch catfish, channel cats, all summer. I saw a question up here on jerk baits about switching from like a 110 to a 110 plus one, so forth. When do I change? I've actually been running the 110 plus one the majority of the time.
So what's that mean for those who are like,
oh yeah, so I'm using a more of a deep diver jerk bait, even in like shallow water a lot of times. Not shallow water, so like 6 feet, I'll throw a 110 plus one. If it's like 2-3 feet, I'll throw one that's not a deep diver. But I feel like I can manipulate the depth of the jerkbait just by my rod tip. Mm-hmm. So if I keep my rod tip up higher, I throw the deep diver, and then I put my rod tip lower as it gets deeper water if I need to. I don't know why. I throw both of them, but for some reason I don't know if I just like that bigger bill. I don't know.
Are you a spy bait guy?
What's that?
Are you a spy bait guy? Do you use spy bait?
No, I brought one with me to Dale Hollow. Actually, it's in my truck. I brought one with me to Dale Hollow. I'm like, yeah, maybe if they're in the middle of the water column, I'll throw a little spy bait, but I didn't even tie it on. No, I haven't thrown any.
Jake, sounds like you are. What do you got for us?
Yeah.
No, it's just like one of my, like in Florida, if I'm in the canals, like trying to chase peacock or something, I'll try one of those little spy baits, like from Berkeley.
Like has a little prop on the front and back?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just can sometimes get the finicky bites that a jerkbait might not.
Right.
But it's crapshoot at that. So
Daren, you're a big spy bait guy, right?
Oh yeah, I love them. I love them. I don't think I even own one, to be honest with you. I have a hard time getting through the baits I have right now.
Yeah.
And I really have to force myself when I go out. And I practice what I preach. So if I'm like, hey, I want to go out and I want to fish the punch bait today, I literally don't bring any other rod.
Right.
Other than the punch bait and a backup in case something happens that I break that rod. So my day isn't dead. And so really forcing me to learn it versus going back to that confidence. I want to catch fish. Cause I'm to the point now. And I think Chad Hoover told me this, and then Austin Hoover said it on as well. Like,
dude, I was thinking the exact same thing. I want to add a question for you. I know where you're going with this, Daren.
Yeah, and so we'll ask your question and I'll answer it so people kind of know what the context.
So, are you working on a technique right now? A new technique?
Yeah. So here we go. So this is the spiel, and I've kind of adopted it. When you first start fishing, you just want to catch fish, right? And then the next level is want to catch as many fish as you possibly can. And then after that, okay. It's fun catching. Like I was out with my brother today. We caught 27 bass in my childhood pond. It was fun. However, then you're like, well, I want to catch big bass. So then you kind of start targeting big bass. And then you're like, I want to catch a lot of big bass. Like I did a lot of small bass. And then after, okay, I'm feeling pretty comfortable that I can go out there and I can catch big. A lot of people get stuck there or they're stuck right at the end. I want to catch big bass. I'm not quite sure. And then, but once you can dial in catching like a lot of big bass consistently every time you're out, catch 4, 5, 6 pounders up here in Northeast Ohio, even bigger down south. Then you're like, I want to start. You get just excited about technique specific bass fishing, right? I've never caught a fish on a punch rig. I've never caught a fish on this particular lure. And even if it's like I caught a ton of fish on bladed jigs before, I've never caught one on the slobber knocker. I want to go out there, learn the nuances of this particular lure. And that's where I feel like I'm getting a lot of yardage because it's hot. It's freaking hot up here. And I was out on July 4th morning and I looked around. There's 27 vessels in sight on an electric only lake. 27. It's like, holy crap. Everybody's fishing out in the open. I was like, well, it's punch rig time. So I was literally the only one in the middle. And I was literally the only one catching fish. I was looking around. No one else was pulling up lines. And so doing that technique specific, like that's where I kind of at in fishing. It's I feel like I'm getting a lot of yardage that could help down the road if I ever get into tournament fishing, which I'm not quite sure if I will or not. But I'm really doing a lot of the topwater stuff being in summer. I'm going to be doing a lot of frog fishing, which I typically don't do, doing a lot of punching and flipping, which I usually don't do, and doing a lot of buzzbait fishing, which I typically don't do. And so, those are a lot of fun. And so I'm really trying to, like last year it was a swim jig. I try to pick a few I really dial in. And so I am on kind of topwater summer fishing right now.
How about you, Jake? Any technique you're working on?
So probably the smallest, this is what I am working on. The smallest thing I throw is like a 1/2 ounce chatterbait or like a 1/2 ounce spinnerbait. Like I'm trying to downsize more. So like when we're at the Kayak Adventure Series, Springfield, Midwest of us, that's the first time I've ever tied on a shaky head. And it made my day go from 0 fish to a few big ones and a lot of small ones. So sometimes I realize that sometimes just changing up, you go out there, you want to do something, doesn't mean the fish want to bite it, right? So just a small change, and try something new. Tied it on. I knew what it was. I knew how to fish it, just never fished it. And just that small change made the day.
Yeah, so I've have a technique that I've really never used my entire life, surprisingly, that I went up to Dale Hollow, and they were all beds, like deep water beds, 8 to 10 feet, smallmouth, largemouth, all that. So it's a little bit different. But I used a Nico rig up there for really the first time in my life. I may have thrown it one day. I don't know.
You gave it up, Seth.
What's that?
You gave up the technique.
Yeah, it's dude. That's all right. It's no big deal. It's not mine.
Oh, you were not going to. There was parts of the story you were not going to tell. You might still not tell them.
Yeah. We'll leave it at that. But anyway, so a Nico rig I used up there. For the people that don't know, I got second in that big Bassmaster event, lost by a 1/4 inch. But that technique gave me the confidence to come down here to Florida and use it, and it has been like a staple in my repertoire. Like I have like my wacky rig on a stick bait, and I have, if I'm fishing fish on the bottom, like I'm not even really throwing Texas rig as much anymore, especially in open water. Now if it's we're in cover, we're going to throw a Texas rig, but like open water fish, if they're on the bottom, throw in a Nico rig, and it's been super effective. And I'm like, how have I not fished a Nico rig very often in my life? So something to check out. And the way I do it, I have like a little nail weight. I went through like 40 nail weights up there in Tennessee, and I ran out. So I was like throwing any type of weight that I had in my worms. So I went to Lowe's and got like these little black screws.
The panhead screws, man. They're freaking awesome.
Yeah. And some of them are a little bit heavier than others. I have ones that aren't even like flathead. It's like a thick screw head. I don't even know what they're called, but I use those instead now. I mean, they're like $5 for 100 instead of $5 for 3 or 2 or 1 or whatever.
When your hands are all wet, they actually, if you get the panhead ones, they screw in
they screw right in. Yep.
Nice
and they stay there
on them, and they stay there.
Because the smallmouth, dude, the smallmouth were just tossing those things every time they jump. I'd have to throw a new one in. Anyway, a Nico rig, man, that has been a surprising, like came out of nowhere. And the reason I fished it up there was when you're fishing beds, and if you have like a wacky rig, your hook's near the bottom. Or not wacky rig, I'm sorry. If you have a shaky head, your hook is like near the bottom. And they kept biting my worms, whatever I was doing, like in the middle, and I was missing fish. So threw that hook in the middle on the little band, and man, hammered them. So yeah, Nico rig for y'all. A new technique.
It's kind of a sleeper up here in Ohio. You don't hear about it a whole lot, but man, it sure does catch fish and how a lot of the lakes set up here.
This is another lure I've been experimenting with. If any of you guys know Jeff Little, Little Stuff the Little Stuff YouTube, just the scented jerkbait on just like a belly weight. He catches the mess of them on rivers. So that is one thing I'm kind of trying to slow down and learn. But
that's something we need to also do, Jake. Night fishing and some river fishing.
Well, right now is the time to do both. It's too hot to go out during the day. Too many people on the water to go out on a lake. So
I hear you. Here's a comment up here from 10K Sweaty Fishing. Get your Guardian light kit from Prime Day today. Kit's on sale. So really quick, I'm a big fan of Guardian Angel. That one right here. And these things are freaking awesome. If you've ever heard of Guardian Angel, you can get, they're magnetic. And so these have like, I don't know, like 15 pounds of, like it's not coming off. So they have stickers you can stick on the front of your kayak. And man, these things are bright. And so you can get them with green on one side, red on the other side. They can be your nav lights. You can take them off and put them on the top of your all around. They make white ones as well. I could throw this into the concrete and it would still work. So Guardian Angel, they make outdoor lights like this one, but they also, it's like freaking me out. It's like, give me an epileptic seizure here. But when they test these, like they put them in grills, they've run over them with trucks, they've freaking slammed them on the ground. These things are built and they're built to last. So Guardian Angel is a fantastic company. They're definitely more expensive than anything else on the market when it comes to kayak lights. However, only cry once, and usually the best stuff is. So these things are awesome. So if you haven't checked out Guardian Angel, I'm getting ready to do a video because I have all their lights in a box over here, and so I'm going to walk through. But there's a lot of functionality to these bad boys. So, and apparently they're on sale right now. So if you've been like, hey, you know what? I need some lights. I'm planning on going out before sun up or staying out after sundown. You want to be safe out there on the water. Guardian Angel. What kind of lights do you use, boss?
I use just strip LED light.
There you go.
But I have
like Yak Power?
No. It's just an Amazon brand. I'm waiting on a company that I work with now to come out with their light. It's going to be similar to the Guardian Angel, but they're my boys, so I gotta wait on that and support them if it's good. No, I use a converter, right, that goes to my lights, and I use DeWalt drill batteries.
Okay.
So one, I think it's like a 2 amp hour or something, 20 volt, gets me like 8 hours of light time.
Huh.
And when I'm on, I had a Guardian light and I loved it, but during the move, I lost it. So it's one of those things like, before I buy it again, let me see what other people are doing. So
yeah. And the beauty of these Guardian Angel ones, they have a remote on them, right?
Yes.
So the issue with a lot of like the Yak Attack and all that stuff, you got to like turn around, get up there and turn the top to turn them off, or your battery's going to burn out. And so with these, you can actually run two at the same time, and I can turn the front on and the front off just with a click of a remote that you can keep.
That's nice.
Yeah, it is super nice. Ryan Fuller, love my Guardian lights, had mine 2 years, no issues. Yep, sounds about right. Sounds about right.
Run some Christmas candles.
What?
Just kidding. Red and green. Yeah.
Oh, got it. Wow, there you go.
Dad jokes.
There you go. Yeah, 10K Sweaty Fishing, losing a Guardian Angel light is like breaking off and Mega Bass 110. They're $28 now, by the way. Wow. Weren't they just $25 like 2 weeks ago?
I would not know.
They are now $28 or $29 a lure on Amazon.
Better throw some heavy fluoro.
Vision 110. I'm braid.
Straight braid.
With a safety braid on that one. So in case that breaks off. 100-pound braid on my Mega Bass 110s. Tariffs went into effect, I guess. I really wish there was a content creator out there that had like an inside scoop with like a variety of different companies who sell lures, because I believe the tariffs did go into effect, but I also believe that the companies use tariffs as a ploy. They didn't actually get tariffs on the lures that they have, maybe even have warehouse, but are still selling them at tariff prices. And I wish there was some expose on how companies are sticking it to us under the guise of tariffs. If you're out there and you got inside, reach out to me. I'll break that story.
They had inventory here. They didn't just ship all that inventory over.
They might have literally 2 years of inventory sitting in a warehouse, but I would break this. So if you know anything, reach out to me, wendellfishing@gmail.com. I'll freaking tell that story. I'd like to see what's happening. 10K Sweaty Fishing. You know what's happening. I know what's happening too. I just want to call out the companies who are doing it.
Breaking news.
So see what happens. See what happens. All right. I mean, I guess companies can do whatever they want, but so can I. So there we go. We have that. All right. What else we got? If you got any questions, we're kind of like last call for questions here. If you haven't done so yet, please hit that like button. Get some of this extra yardage out of this whenever the podcast is all said and done. All right. Let me see here.
I got one.
Oh, you did?
What size hook do I use for Nico rigs?
There you go.
It is a Gamakatsu 1/0 finesse wide gap.
Essentially what you could use for the wacky as well.
It's exactly what I use for wacky.
It is. Yeah, you're literally just shoving a Home Depot panhead screw in the end in Nico.
Yep.
There we go.
On a Dark Horse tackle reg stick.
So you Nico your reg sticks.
That's right.
Do they come off easily?
No.
Like,
wait, what do you mean? What come
like
off?
on cast? Like, I mean, I know, like you freaking.
Does the bait come off, or does the
bait come off?
Never.
Really? And it still has that flutter fall that gets them.
Yeah.
That is a magic bait.
The O-ring. I have an O-ring. Are you using O-ring?
But even then, if you have an O-ring on a Yamo, it's so salty. It's still great.
I don't know if I've ever cast it off one. The only time my bait comes off is if I reel my bait in too far and the hook is right at the tip of the rod and it like pushes off.
Oh yeah.
Like, yeah, you son of a gun. Really,
you got to reach for. You're like, where'd it go? You're like, crap.
Yeah.
Either behind my kayak crate or like.
But no, I mean it to me, and obviously Yamamoto baits, the Senko is like the gold standard. I'm telling you, not just because they're a show partner, that the reg stick, and I don't know if they're even that much cheaper. They're around the same price, but they last longer. And it's not like they're made of that. What's that material, Daren, of some of those baits?
Oh, it's not
a last tech material. It's not that material. It will degrade, but it lasts longer. It keeps its flutter. And Dark Horse Tackle has like a unique color called the Dark Horse Tackle color, I think. Actually, yeah, Dark Horse Tackle.
So unique. Incredibly unique color.
The bait is Magnum Baits Reg Stick in the Dark Horse Tackle color. That's what it is.
Head over to darkhorse.com. You go to their bait section. You can buy them individually there. So they kind of keep them in stock. And actually, the owner, Zach, told me the first time you talked about them, Seth, they sold out. And then the second time you talked about them, they sold out. And so they are, and ironic. I've never even fished them yet. I don't have them. So we'll see. I'm actually testing out Tactical Fishing Co. They sent me some. I just got them in the mail. My brother caught some bass on him today, but look forward to throwing those that we were talking about last week when Andrew Blair was on the show. All right, I got a last call for questions here. If you have those, go ahead and shoot those in. We'll get them answered toward the end of the show. Jake, back to you. What's one hot weather lure that's completely underrated in your opinion?
So I'm going to take a step back. One hot weather lure that's underrated. Instead of flipping with your traditional flipping baits, flip with a worm. Like instead of going to a cross style bait that the fish have seen time and time again, especially if you're on a lake, that's a circle. And, everyone in front of you is flipping the same lily pad over and over. Put on a worm or a Senko, something that traditionally the fish aren't seeing in that spot.
All right.
Texas rig worms work great, man. Texas rig Senkos, stick baits.
Yeah.
Fantastic bait.
All right.
Does that a lot.
Seth, what do you got for underrated hot? The hot, which is out there right now for you.
Underrated. Oh man. Caught me off guard here. I'm the same on everything. Jerk bait, stick bait, Texas rig punch.
Are you ever gonna move away from your Stunnas just for
when I start losing, Daren. When I start, no, I'm just kidding.
You know what? Respect. Straight up respect.
The more time I have, the more I'll try different baits and do like in the field tests, like cast out a Stunna. They're not interested. Okay, so let me have like 2 other different style jerk baits on. Throw those like right after, see if they react differently. That's what I'd like to do. Have like a whole 10 rods with different jerk baits and just run through them and see like how they're reacting in real time.
Well, you just got some. You're gonna get some more time in 48 hours, right?
Yeah.
Is that secret? Can we say that out loud? Can we congratulations?
No, it's not secret. I mean, I'm still have to do stuff, but tomorrow is my last full day on roofs. Yeah.
Come on.
But I'm not fishing full time like you, Dan. Sorry. But
fishing more because you're not working 60 hours a week.
Yeah.
In a truck watching people put roofs on.
That's right. So yeah, I'm excited for that.
Hey, congrats. So thanks. You have this time. You got to find like another job at that time, or are you going to reinvest that time into fishing?
Nah, I gotta make more money. We're not at the gold level standard Daren is.
You just give it 4 or 5 years, Seth. You will be there, my friend.
It just can't be field work because I have a remote job already. I can't do a field job and remote job at the same simultaneously.
So what Seth is trying to say, without saying, is that I can't go fishing with my employer knowing it when I actually have to be there in person.
Correct. Yeah. Like you can take calls on the water, no problem. But you can't do like roof inspections.
There you go.
From the lake. You know?
No, they expect you to be there in person from the lake.
That's right.
All right, we got some questions we're going to finish off with. I think this one should go to Jake from coming in from Adam Ross. Any river crankbaits you like?
Ooh, Adam. Adam's from Northeast Ohio. If that's the real Adam Ross, that is.
It doesn't say the real Adam Ross; it just says Adam Ross.
So if I had to pick up a crankbait, which I wouldn't, I would probably pick up Snowbill, chartreuse, blackback, but I just wouldn't.
You don't throw cranks in rivers?
No.
Oh man, I've had some of the best luck throwing the KVD 1.1. No, the bombers, the crawl bombers in rivers. I also lost every single one of them.
Exactly. If you knew how much I got hung up with a spinnerbait or with just one exposed hook, and you're asking me to put 6 exposed hooks on, no brainer.
This is true. You lose a lot of tackle, but man, it's still a lot of fun. But yeah, there's a lot of better presentations out there for rivers. Now, when I'm fishing the cranks, they're usually rounded rocks, fast moving river, so it actually comes through those rocks really well. And if I do get hung up, I usually can walk over to it and get it. So there are some time and places where you could use it, but I agree with you. All right, what else we got here? Seth, this comes in from Scraps with a Z. Seth, what bait do you recommend for Florida dark, murky water?
Depends on if you're fishing structure, you're fishing open water, all that kind of stuff. But just remember, typically in Florida, or really any water, if visibility is bad, the range for which the fish will come to your bait, or how close you have to get that bait to your fish, decreases in size, and you can see it when you're on a graph. So you're going to be throwing a lot more casts, and you're going to be catching less fish if it's really dirty water, typically on average. But yeah, you're going to like flashy stuff right there. Jake has it up. He's holding it. Spinner baits are a good bait. Anything with flash, vibration typically works. But if you can see the fish on your graph, like I say all the time, guys, you can just throw it right on them, any bait. Use a video game fish. But yeah, you will catch less fish typically in Florida. Dirty water, you gotta hit them on the head a lot of times, or make a lot of noise.
I was fishing dirty water today. I went to this pond, and my brother and I went fishing just kind of to hang out. Actually, we went to go fish an old strip mine that we haven't seen in 30 years. That we used to go walking back in the woods and found it, and we used to go swimming there. And I was like, I wonder if there's fish there. And we literally dragged the kayak back through the woods to find out that it was so choked out I couldn't even get a punch rig through it. So then we went to another pond we grew up on, and we caught 27 bass, and it was all muddy, but they're really dumb, and they don't get a lot of pressure, so they really eat anything. All right, we got Ralph 1N saying Canio represent, which is Kayak Anglers Northeast Ohio. Welcome, my friend. That's a thing up here.
An elite group, baby.
It is, man. It's actually a large.
I bet it is. Yeah,
Canio is a grassroots. Right. So if you're a beginner or if you're a hammer, right, we'll take them all. Come out to an event, right? We are pedal drive or paddle only, no motors without a doctor written note of some sort. But anyways, grassroots. Come, whatever you bring, fish out of it, right? Very, very open to beginners, very beginner friendly. And it's just a great time. We have multiple events a year. Some are out at Pymatooning for a whole weekend. It's great. Free camping, right? We have others down at Raccoon Creek Outfitters. Come down, buy a new kayak, rig it all out to whatever you want.
That's not Northeast Ohio.
Yeah, it's an exception.
It's Ohio.
All right. We'd like Dustin.
Yeah. But no, Kano is definitely a great opportunity, especially if you're looking to take that first step into bass fishing tournaments. Very low entry. It's like 20 or 30 bucks, maybe 40 bucks, depending on the event. If you don't do online events, or if you do online events and you want to take that next step to in-person events,
there it is.
It's a great place to start.
How do you get involved? I don't think I've ever been to an event.
So what you have to do is either go on their Facebook, Discord, or even the website, right? That's how you get in touch with people. But all you have to do is have Tourney X, right? Search up KANEO. The next event's going to be on Portage Lakes. Real close one for you.
I was just on Portage Lakes. Grassy. Oh my gosh, so much freaking grass.
In Ohio, in Northeast Ohio here, Bob Hammond is the tournament director. Him and his team, all of them, all the KA guys I met from PA all the way to Missouri, right? They all have such detailed Tourney X descriptions. You'll know where to be, when to be, what to bring. It's fantastic. It's honestly fantastic.
I love it.
You see that, Daren?
I see it. Mosquito Lake.
This is my claim to fame, Ohio flag.
There it is. I mentioned Mosquito Lake when Seth first came on the co-host. He was like, wait a second, that rings a bell. Oh, yeah. Oh, I fished a tournament over there.
It's the Bass Federation out there.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. All right, we got another question. Anybody can answer this one from Matthew Pielli. If you were getting a new kayak, would you go all motorized, motor, and pedal, or just pedal? I know you have a few. I think he's referring to me, but he might be referring to Jake since there's some sitting right behind you. Ahead, but it's Crescent. Go ahead.
So if I did not have a single kayak right now, here's the direction I would go. Honestly, love Crescents, but if I didn't have any, those disappeared, right? I don't know about Crescent. I would go with Bonafide. I would go with a Bonafide RVR, all right? That way you can be on the rivers and it handles lakes okay.
Hear that, Seth?
In the future, buy the Propel Drive. Yes. Now you have a pedal-driven kayak, all right? So now that you have those, right, this is like year one, right, buy the kayak. Season 2, get the Propel Drive and any other accessories you find you need or want. And then the next season, buy the motor. You will have rigged the ultimate kayak you can take from a river to a lake, north, south, east, and west, and you can be competitive on any body of water.
I don't even need to hear from Seth. Jack, thank you so much. I can't even say it better myself.
I don't can't go wrong with having a Crescent. Crescent in Newport, it's like a piece of cake.
Seth, do you have anything to say? Great, awesome. I agree with Jake. Seth has a Hobie.
Yeah.
Still got the Hobie, or is it still cracking apart?
Hey, you got a brand new one. Brand spanking new one sitting in my garage.
I can't wait to give me the call, bro. Cracked again.
That's fine. Hey, if it cracks and they want to give me a third one, that's fine too.
Do you have to cut it in half? Like what did you do with the old one?
I got to de-rig everything and take it with me as extra.
Oh, you took all the hardware off.
Yeah. And I just took the bare bone thing to the shop, cut it up, and gave me a new one.
Did they cut it up?
Well, they're supposed to. They had to take pictures and they cut it up. I threw it out back, but I didn't watch them cut it.
It depends. Sometimes they let them strip everything out, like the steering cables and all those parts you have to order from freaking Australia is where I had to order freaking screws for my buddy.
Yeah, I got bags of them. But yeah, you don't want to go Hobie as your first kayak. I wouldn't do that.
Or your second. I'm just kidding. I'm not anti-Hobie. I'd be interested. I'd like to run a season in Hobie. I'd be interested in that. To our conversation that we were talking about a little ago, the angry angler said, "You ever heard of a lure knocker?" We're talking about crankbaits in the river. The problem with lure knockers for me, I'm not against them, and I use them all the time until you lose your lure knocker because it goes down and doesn't actually knock it free. So you could get 20 of your lures back until you don't, and then you're like, "Oh crap! Now I lost my lure knocker and my lure." And so I have that happen to me. But then again, I would say I just need to get another one because I've saved more lures.
Yeah.
More so than what the lure knocker cost me. Probably 10 to 20x. And so I actually just need to have a couple on board because I fish jigs, and those jigs I don't like cheap jigs. So I'm getting like $9, $10 jigs and, trailers. And then it'd be nice to get that back because lure knockers can only like 10 to $20. So if you can get 2 lures back, it's underrated. Do you roll with one, Jake?
So when I bought my first lure knocker, it was $27.99.
Okay.
It was like a 2-pack or something. It had a weight you could screw on it, and it was red, and you clipped it on your line. It slid down, boom, right?
Was it the one that had a dog on it?
I'm not sure. It was like when I was in Texas, so 4-ish years ago. But honestly, I'm fishing 5 foot of water. I'm just going to get out and get my lure.
Yeah, or you just shove your pole down there and break your rod.
You break your rod.
Yep. Break the ceramic insert. Crap. Bigger problem.
So that's the other thing is the rods I use. I'm not a guy that's going to go out there with $300 rods, right? I'm in the $70 to $100 range. They fit what I need them to do, and they do what I need them to do well. So,
yeah, I won't buy. Here's Jake. I won't buy expensive rods, but I will buy 17 boxes on Amazon a day of lures.
Yep.
Yeah. It's good to know your lines. I like it.
I use some very sub costing rods. I mean, I have $70 rod reel combo that I got second place on the Bassmaster Kayak Series. $70 combo. That means it's $35 a piece for the reel. I would go see a Jordan Lee.
I love it. For the longest time, I ran a Lose Xfinity stick. Still have it. My brother was fishing with it today.
I do have some nicer rods for certain techniques, but just like an average, like universal rod where you're just going out fishing.
I will say technique specific rods, if you can afford it and that's your thing.
Correct.
There is a noticeable difference. Can you catch fish on just one rod and a multi-purpose rod and using a lot of different lures? Absolutely, 100%. And I highly recommend it starting out. But if you get the addiction and you're like, hey, I can afford it, and you find that a lot of joy in those technique specific rods. It wasn't until I partnered with Impulse that I have access to a lot of those rods. And I was like, holy crap, how these handle lures, how these handle fish, and how this 6'8" topwater rod allows me to twitch and it allows me to work a bait like it was actually designed to work, and how this broomstick pulls this punch rig up and out of the grass, and oh my gosh, it's crazy. It's not this one of those things we're trying to sell you. I mean, everyone's trying to sell you rods and you're like, oh, it's a 7.2s, 7.3 is better than the 7.2 and blah 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 blah. But it was a game changer for me moving to technique specific rods. And so
I would just say when you're looking at rods, you're going to notice, or you should notice, or I noticed that there are purpose-driven rods, designer rods, and then rods to fit people in their budget, right? So you can go get $100 rod that fits a budget, right? Or $100 combo. Then you can get a technique specific, which fits the purpose. But just make sure you're not necessarily getting the designer rod. And I'm not going to name any brands, but make sure the price point and the rod fits you and the technique.
Sure. There's diminishing returns, 1,000%.
Yes.
And you just got to know where that diminishing return is for you, because a lot of those designer rod companies out there who fetch the really high prices, the weekend warrior is not going to notice the difference.
Right.
It's the pros that are using it every day are like, oh, that inch is actually noticeable to me because I have a rod in my hand 10 hours a day, 6 days a week.
Right.
So things to think about. Don't get caught up in the design. Well said, Jake. And on that, we will end, because I can't believe we're an hour and 51. That went. We sent that one, folks. We sent it. So if you haven't done so, hit that like button, write a comment, share this bad boy. And also, if you made it all the way to the end, I don't ask this very often, but please, if you go over to Apple and leave a podcast review, even if it's just like a 5-star, and send it. It'd be awesome if you can write like a sentence. I'm assuming if you made it an hour and 52 minutes, you liked it. And so hopefully it's bringing value to you. But Jake, thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you in a video where we are river fishing and night fishing. Seth, I enjoy spending time with you next week at ICAST. Just kidding. I look forward to talking about it.
Yeah,
like you were there the following week.
Yeah, I can't wait.
We actually do not have a show next week just because I'm down at ICAST and it is going to be rocking and rolling. But I will be producing content like a freaking fiend. So that'll be coming at you hard and fast. A lot of shorts the week of. And then when I get back, I'll be editing long form. So thank you all. I appreciate you all. And I'll see you in 2 weeks on the Kayak Fishing Obsessed podcast. Jake, thank you so much, brother.
Thanks, guys.